Every single second, McDonald's sells over 75 hamburgers. Right now, as you're watching this, thousands of beef patties are being formed, cooked, and shipped out to feed millions. But have you ever stopped to wonder, what's really inside that burger? Where does it come from? And just how is McDonald's able to produce so many, so fast, without sacrificing that signature taste? What if I told you that the journey of a McDonald's hamburger starts long before it hits the grill? That behind every bite there's a process so meticulously controlled it feels more like a high-tech lab than a fast food kitchen? But here's where it gets even crazier. While McDonald's claims its burgers are 100% beef, the way they're made might surprise you. Some might even say it's a little unsettling. Wait, are you still here? Good, because what we're about to show you is something McDonald's doesn't exactly advertise in its commercials. No fluffy mascots, no perfectly staged burger shots, just the raw industrial reality of mass burger production. From farm to factory to your hands in under 72 hours. Let's start at the very beginning, where the beef actually comes from. McDonald's doesn't own cattle farms. Instead, it sources its beef from a network of independent suppliers across the United States, Australia, Canada, and several other countries. But let's be real. Saying McDonald's buys beef is an understatement. They consume beef on a scale that's hard to even imagine. To put that into perspective, that's enough beef to circle the earth almost 3 times if laid end to end. Yeah, let that sink in for a second. But here's where the real process begins. The beef used in McDonald's hamburgers doesn't come from just one cow. In fact, each patty can contain meat from hundreds of different cows, blended together to achieve a uniform texture and taste. If that sounds a little unsettling, well, hold on to that thought. I mean, let's be honest. When was the last time you thought, I'd love a burger made from 100 different cows? Probably never. But in McDonald's world, consistency is king. And that's where the real magic, or science, of making a McDonald's patty happens. Once the beef arrives at the processing plant, it's time for the transformation. This is where raw meat is turned into that familiar round McDonald's patty. But first, it has to go through an intense process of grinding and blending. Inside these massive grinders, different cuts of beef, everything from chuck to sirloin to trimmings, are combined and pulverized into a fine texture. But why mix different cuts together? Simple. Flavor consistency. Some cuts have higher fat, some have more protein, and the perfect McDonald's patty needs just the right balance of both. Too much fat and it's greasy. Too little and it's dry. This formula is the result of decades of tweaking. And here's a little secret. If you've ever noticed that McDonald's burgers always taste the same, whether you eat one today, next month, or 10 years from now, it's because this ratio is mathematically perfected. You're not just eating beef, you're eating a formula that's been tested, optimized, and executed billions of times. Which, let's be honest, is more scientific precision than most people put into choosing a life partner. But blending the meat is just step 1. Now, it's time to shape and freeze the patties at lightning speed. Because the next phase of production is what ensures that burger gets to your hands fresh, safe, and ready to cook. And this part? It might just be the most high-tech step of all. Get ready, because this is where science meets speed. Right now, at this very moment, thousands of McDonald's patties are being shaped at speeds faster than your eyes can track. Each one is a near-perfect clone of the last, identical in size, weight, and texture. But what if I told you that precision isn't just a happy accident? It's an exact science, one designed to control not just what you eat, but how you experience it. Have you ever noticed that a McDonald's burger always looks the same? It doesn't sag, it doesn't crumble, it's perfectly symmetrical. That's because McDonald's patties aren't formed like traditional burgers. They're engineered. And to get that level of perfection, the meat has to go through something intense. Imagine a production line so fast it can shape over 4,000 patties in a single minute. That's 66 patties per second. If you blink, you've missed an entire batch. But let's talk about pressure. The McDonald's patty press doesn't just shape beef, it compresses it with extreme force. This isn't just to make it round, it's to ensure that every single patty has the exact same density, texture, and bite resistance. That's why when you take a bite of a Big Mac, it feels effortless. Think about it. When's the last time you bit into a burger and thought, wow, this is too much work? McDonald's made sure you never would. But shaping is just the beginning. These patties have minutes, no, seconds, before they're locked away in a frozen vault, preserved at temperatures colder than Antarctica. Why? Because if they don't freeze fast enough, they won't just lose their freshness. They could become a breeding ground for something much worse. And this is where the science of speed meets the battle against time. The moment a McDonald's patty is formed, the clock starts ticking. Every second that passes is a race against bacteria, against spoilage, against the forces that turn fresh meat into something far less appetizing. So how does McDonald's ensure that a burger pressed in a factory thousands of miles away arrives at your local restaurant just as fresh as the day it was made? 2 words: flash freezing. This isn't your average kitchen freezer. A McDonald's beef patty doesn't freeze in hours. It doesn't even freeze in minutes. It's flash frozen in under 3 minutes. That's colder than the peak of Mount Everest, colder than the Arctic, colder than anywhere humans could survive. But here's the real trick. McDonald's doesn't just freeze their patties fast. They freeze them strategically. If ice crystals get too big, the burger loses its signature texture. So instead of turning into a rock-hard lump of ice, McDonald's burgers freeze at just the right speed to lock in juiciness. You're not just eating frozen beef. You're eating the result of a decades-long experiment in food preservation. This isn't about just keeping burgers fresh. It's about locking in a flavor formula that guarantees your quarter pounder tastes the same whether you're in Los Angeles or Tokyo. And let's be honest, some people can't even keep a bag of peas from getting freezer burn. McDonald's? They've mastered the deep freeze better than Captain America. But here's something that might surprise you. Flash freezing is only half the battle. Even with this high-tech freezing process, McDonald's still isn't taking any chances. Every batch of patties is about to face one final test, a test so strict even a microscopic flaw can get an entire shipment rejected. And this is where the real scrutiny begins. Most people assume McDonald's food factories are chaotic, high-speed, and full of non-stop movement. But here's something they don't tell you. Before a patty can leave the factory, it has to pass through some of the strictest food safety measures in the world. And let me tell you, not every patty makes the cut. Every day, thousands of patties are pulled off the line and tested. McDonald's doesn't just check for weight and size. These patties are scanned, probed, and sometimes even dissected to ensure they meet the golden standard. To put that into perspective, that's more quality checks than some high-end gourmet steakhouses perform in a year. If a batch doesn't meet McDonald's strict criteria, it's scrapped. No second chances, no fixing it. That means if a single shipment has even the slightest issue, McDonald's would rather take the loss than serve you an imperfect burger. If dating apps had this level of quality control, half of us would still be single. Once they pass inspection, the frozen patties are locked, loaded, and sent out to restaurants, from factory to grill, in just 72 hours. But here's the real question. What happens when these perfectly engineered patties finally hit the kitchen? How does McDonald's turn a frozen disc of beef into that sizzling burger you recognize instantly? Because the next step? That's where the real transformation happens. By now, these patties have been shaped, flash frozen, and quality checked. But there's still one more challenge: getting them from the factory to over 40,000 McDonald's locations worldwide fast. Each box is sealed, tracked, and shipped out with military-level precision. Temperature is monitored at all times, because even a few degrees too warm could mean the entire shipment gets tossed. From factory to restaurant in just 3 days. And then, that frozen disc of beef finally meets the heat. What happens in the next 40 seconds will decide whether this burger is McDonald's quality or a disaster. McDonald's grills aren't like your backyard barbecue. These flat-top cookers use precisely controlled temperatures and pressure to sear both sides at the exact same time. No flipping, no guesswork, just science. And here's a secret: seasoning is added only after cooking. Why? Because salt draws out moisture. Doing it before would dry out the burger. Less than a minute after hitting the grill, it's ready for the final phase: assembly. If the cooking process is precise, the assembly line is a well-oiled machine. Every ingredient, buns, sauces, toppings, is placed in a specific order, in a specific amount, every single time. Even the way the ketchup and mustard are applied, measured down to the gram. That's how McDonald's makes sure your Big Mac in New York tastes the same as one in Paris. And just like that, your burger is ready to go. But why does it work? Why do billions of people keep coming back for the same taste? It's not just about beef. It's about familiarity, precision, engineering taste at scale. From sourcing to shaping, freezing to cooking, every single step is designed to make sure your burger tastes exactly how you expect it to. No surprises, just the same reliable bite every single time. Now the only question left is, knowing all this, will your next McDonald's burger taste the same, or will you see it differently? So, what do you think? Now that you've seen the full journey of a McDonald's burger, from raw beef to your hands in record time, does it make you appreciate the science behind it? Or does it make you question everything? One thing's for sure, love it or hate it, McDonald's has mastered the art of mass production like no one else. But here's where you come in. What shocked you the most? The way patties are blended? The insane speed of the freezing process? Or the sheer scale of it all? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you want more deep dives into the world's biggest food brands, hit that like button and subscribe for more.